For those of you interested in making kombucha, I have a couple here and I have a third one. Now these containers are from Kmart. They're about $20, but they come with these cheap, nasty spigots, which aren't too good with the acidic liquid in there. So what you need to do is purchase one of these stainless steel ones off eBay, and you need to replace them, which is what I'm doing now. So I've actually strained out into bottles the kombucha from in here. I've put my starter fluid and my Scoby in there, and I'm about to put in to here this spigot, and then I will pour that back into here along with the fresh tea. That is 8 tea bags in there, and there's still some sugar that needs to be dissolved, but it doesn't really matter if it's fully dissolved or not. So that's how you start one of these nice big containers if you are starting from scratch. You buy one of these from Kmart, order the spigot on eBay, which will take, this one took I think 8 weeks to get here, so I'm sure you can get them elsewhere, but mine took a while. So buy your container, get the spigots, make sure you've got your starter fluid and your Scoby as well. You can get that from on eBay if you want to, or from someone who is already brewing. And then you just need to pop that into the container and then top it up with your sweet tea. So in there I have 8 tea bags and 1 cup of sugar, and however much starter fluid is there. So it's as simple as that if you want to start making your own kombucha. Oh, this is the Scoby. I've just taken another one out and put it into the hotel. So this is the second Scoby I've taken out and put into the hotel. This is what's remaining. So each time you drain it and top it up, a new Scoby will form. This is what my Scoby hotel looks like at the moment. So there's a heap of Scobys in there. When I don't need them, I just take them out, plop them in there, and they live there happily in the cupboard for, well, for ages. So I've just put that tea in there after putting the spigot on and putting some water in and testing it to make sure it doesn't leak. Now I'm just going to top it up with water here. And that's going to be not too hot because I'm putting this cooler water into the tea that was warmish, and I'll fill that up to about there, and then I'll pour the rest of that starter fluid and the Scoby in there. So I've just poured it from there into there, and I will pour that into here. And goes the Scoby. And I'll put the rest of the tea in here. Obviously it pours in a little bit easier than pouring out of a bowl, and then top the rest up. I told a lie. I actually poured it straight in out of the bowl and it was fine. So now, because it's going to be a little bit heavier, I'm going to take it over and set it on the stand over there and then top it up from there. Well, that was Friday the 23rd, and now it is Tuesday the 28th. So I took out the bigger Scobys that were in there and just left a smaller one, and this is what's formed in the last couple of days. So there we have it, and I cover mine with a tea towel. Just like that, and I found it to be fine. So I write down on here as well. So this is what I did the other day. 2 litres. I've got chai tea in this one. It was a bit of an experiment to see if it worked or not, and it did. It tastes great. So 2 baby Scobys and 3 litres of sweet tea went into that. So the starter fluid you saw in the bowl, there was quite a large amount of that. So when I harvest or drain them, obviously I put my bowl, my jar under here, turn that tap on, and I drain it down to there. So I leave that much starter fluid or liquid or start a kombucha in there. And of course this big SCOBY just comes down, 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 down. And then I top it up with the sweet tea, making sure that it's at room temperature and definitely not hot, because SCOBYs don't like that. So that's been there for quite a while. As you can see, every time you lower the water down and top it back up, a new layer will form up on the top here. And this one looks like that. You can see it bubbling away. That's what's going on there. So that's been green tea and then a black, green, black, black. So I'm slowly changing that one over to black. And as I said, this one is the chai. So this one needs a little bit longer because the SCOBY is quite small, so it's taking a bit longer to ferment. But again, that's because I emptied the vessel, cleaned it out, put the new spigot on and topped it up. So what I do with these Kmart ones, I buy them, fill them up, do my thing until the spigot arrives. So if you've got a spigot straight away, go ahead and put it on. If not, fill it up and use it normally and then replace it when it gets there. If the SCOBYs just get too big, you can do what I did to replace the spigot. So you drain out the kombucha that you want to drink, you put your starter fluid and your SCOBYs into a bowl while you clean this container out. Then you will cut your SCOBYs in half to make them a little bit smaller. Put the other SCOBY, what's left, into a SCOBY hotel and then continue the process of filling up and brewing again. The other reason I have that on there is so it gives me a bit of an idea of when it's ready to harvest, but the best way is just by popping a glass underneath, turning that tap on there and having a mouthful, and if it tastes good, it's generally ready. You don't want it too sour, but you definitely don't want it too sweet either. Over here on the bookshelf, I'm growing some more SCOBYs, as you do. So this is just a jar with the tea in there, and the SCOBYs are all coming along nicely, as you can see in there. And this one here. Yep. When it comes to the sugar that you use to brew your kombucha, please make sure that it is from sugarcane and not genetically modified other stuff. Make sure that it's raw and organic, ideally. It can be made with just your plain white bleached sugar, but obviously the better ingredients that you use, the better your kombucha is going to be. So aiming for raw organic cane sugar and organic tea, preferably plain green or black. If it comes to experimenting with flavored teas, do that when you've got some spare SCOBYs, just in case they don't like it. Now, when it comes to the tea, you can use leaf tea if you want to. Oh, you know what leaf tea looks like. Or you can use the tea bags. This one's just from Aldi. So what I've done is I've bought these little Hessian baggy things off eBay, and that's what I pop my loose leaf tea in. It looks like that after you've used it a couple of times, but it doesn't matter. So you can use your loose leaf tea in some of these little bags, which is fine if you've got plenty of time. If you're in a rush and you think, oh, I've only got 5 minutes and I need to do my kombucha, just tea bags like that. If you want to play around and use something like this tea with extra bits and pieces in it, I would recommend doing so once you've already got some spare SCOBYs in your hotel, just in case the SCOBY doesn't like it and dies. And here we have my 3 beautiful brewing vessels of kombucha. And this is my original SCOBY, looking at it from the bottom. This is how we flavour them. We chop the fruit up and pop them in there, and then we sit them on the bench in bottles like this until it becomes fizzy or carbonated enough. And then, of course, you get to pour it into a glass and drink your beautiful homemade kombucha.